All right, so we are here in Orange Beach today because I wanted to have a really important conversation with Heather Loper. She had a unique experience happen, was it last week?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, with one of her sellers. So as you guys know, Heather's one of our top listing agents, and she has listing appointments probably 10 a week. And that's her goal.
I'd have a lot more listings if I had that many a week.
Anyway, so Heather's going to tell us today about what the experience that she had last week with this seller that she signed on, over the weekend?
He signed last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us how that conversation went and what made this guy unique from the rest.
So when I went to the listing appointment, commissions came up and we discussed it. And he said, in my conversation with all sellers now are, you do not have to offer, which he already knew that. He's been looking at the clickbait that's on social media, and we discussed it, and I discussed the pros and the cons of offering a buyer's brokerage commission. So I thought it was decided we were offering a buyer's brokerage commission, so I did the listing paperwork, I sent it to him, and he texted me, he's like, why is there a buyer's broker commission in here? And so I called him, and he basically was like, I don't want to offer it. I don't want to offer, I don't have to, I don't want to offer it. And I was like, okay. I was caught a little bit off guard. I wasn't fully prepared. So I kind of gave him a couple of reasons why I thought he should. And he was like, no, let's do it and let's see how it goes. And I said, okay. So I filled out the paperwork, sent it to him, he signed. And in the meantime, we were getting the photos taken and I just let it sit. And I went personally to put the lockbox up on Friday. On purpose, and I made sure they were home when I went to go put the lockbox up, and I went in with my arguments of why I felt they should offer a buyer's brokerage commission.
Yeah. Well,
and I can talk about that if you want.
You said something a second ago when you have that initial conversation with your sellers. Now you're, letting them know they don't have to pay a buyer brokerage commission.
Well, so here's the thing: everybody's seeing this in the media, right? So why not hit it head on?
Yeah.
So I'm having the conversation. I'm sure you've seen what's going on in the media. Here's what I want you to understand. This is a proposed settlement. There's nothing been decided. Here's the premise of how it came about. And by the way, in Baldwin County, our commissions, I've always stated the total commission and what amount is being offered to the buyer's brokerage. That's part of what got them in trouble in Missouri, because it was just, my understanding was just one commission.
Yeah.
So I point out that we have always kind of said this is the commission, and of that, this amount is going to be offered to the buyer's broker for bringing a buyer that goes to closing. So anyway, yeah, I just kind of have that conversation up front because I would rather head it off at the pass.
Yeah, and this just happened to be the first seller that said, I don't want to offer it.
I don't want to offer it.
Yeah.
And
what did he say exactly? He just had no interest in it? He didn't feel like it was worth it?
He just said, he's looking at it, he wants his bottom line. He wanted to make the most money he could possibly make. And he said, and this is what he said to me. He said, so because they're moving back to Birmingham, he said, well, so when I go to Birmingham, I just need to go work directly with the listing agent. I'm like, I can't tell you what's in the MLS up there, but I can almost promise you that large majority, 99%, if not more, of the listings up there are offering a buyer's brokerage commission. It's already been negotiated and that seller is prepared to pay it, and you're not going to have any representation. But you do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. So what research did you do after you had that initial conversation with him and he said he did not want to offer it and you got the paperwork executed? What steps did you take to prepare for the next conversation with him?
So I pulled all of the listings that we used as comps, and I printed the, not the client version, the agent version, and I highlighted the commissions on them. That was essentially what it did. And in my mind, I'm just kind of going through the conversation with him, like what I was going to do, what I was going to say when I went in to see him, and then if I got objections on top of that. So when I did go in to meet with him and his wife on Friday, I could put the lockbox up and they could see I had papers in my hand. I said, can we go inside and talk for a minute? And they were like, oh. So we sat at the kitchen counter and I said, listen, I feel like you are going to miss an opportunity for buyers that would potentially be interested in your property. I said, not offering a buyer broker commission is not normal. And I said, listen, I can't search in our MLS by who's offering a commission and who's not. And I said, rightly so, we shouldn't be able to search by that.
Yeah. I
said, but here's what I can tell you. These are the comps that we used to comp out your property. And by the way, we've kind of priced it on the high side. And I want you to look at the commissions being offered for all of those listings. So he looked through them and I said, so here's what you need to understand. We've priced it with comparable to these. So when a buyer comes along, if they have a buyer broker and they're going to have to pay that buyer broker commission, I need for you to be prepared to discount it another 2 to 3% below what the market is telling us is worth.
Yeah.
And
you think that's where his light bulb came
I think
off?
so.
Yeah.
I think so. And I don't remember exactly what, but we had a little bit of back and forth, and his wife kind of stayed quiet. I think it was more him than her.
Yeah.
And he said, well, okay, let's go ahead and offer the buyer's brokerage commission. And Mary hadn't said anything. So I looked at Mary, I said, are you okay with that? She said, I'm fine with whatever. So I think she was okay. It was him that was like hearing, reading what's on social media, which, by the way, there's so much crap out there.
So much
crap. But what I told him, I said, listen, I want to remind you, this is a proposal. This has not been approved. And I said, it has always been a seller's right to offer a commission or not. It has been customary practice for a seller to offer it. And I said, if you really think about it, the buyer's the one paying it.
That's 100%, yeah.
Because you have your net, and yeah, your net's going to be determined. I mean, what you're going to net is going to be determined by where the market is. Like, you can't take the property that's worth, $500 and think you're going to net $800. Like, that's not reality. But if, like, and I said, think about it, if a buyer is financing the property, they're basically financing those closing costs, because you've got your net. Anything over and above that is closing costs, really. And he's like, well, I don't really get that. I don't think of it that way. I was like, I get it, and it really is kind of a buyer expense if you really sit down and look at it.
Yeah. Reached out to other agents in KW though, didn't you? Throughout the country?
Yes. So I have a group of girls, women that are agents all over the country, and so we have a group message, and I said, well, got my first. And so anyway, we kind of bantered back and forth, and they helped give me some ideas. And I actually talked to another agent in this market that I have a ton of respect for, not with KW. Of course, she didn't give me any ideas or tips, but I just said, I feel like I'm going to be blackballed. But I was looking at it as if I had to go down this road with him, it was going to be a guinea pig. What's it going to look like if this gets approved?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
It's going to be helpful for everybody. I'm glad you were the first person to experience
I mean, I could say now I'll be, but listen, what I did, I learned a lot out of this. So the next time it comes up, I'm going to be prepared to have that, more prepared to have that conversation and overcome the objections.
Yeah, very good. Thank you so much.